Okay, now that we've done a nil return, we'll go ahead and complete an actual return. Now we're going to do a return for the next financial year. So from our home page, we select the income tax link. That brings us to this window where we're able to begin our filing. Now, since we'll be filing for 2023, as you can see right here, we'll just select this link. It brings us back to page 1 where we enter our general information. Now that we're going through this filing in its entirety, let's read this section in red together. It's a description of what being gainfully employed or gainfully occupied means to the tax office. Now, gainfully employed refers to employment in Jamaica under any contract of service, an employee or employer relationship, or outside of Jamaica, working on a ship or aircraft flying the Jamaican flag, or a citizen of Jamaica employed by the Jamaican embassies, high commissions, or consulate abroad of any Jamaican company located abroad. If you are not gainfully employed and you have self-employment income, you are gainfully occupied. Okay, so those are the descriptions of what it means to be gainfully employed and gainfully occupied. In our case, or in the case of John Brown, he is gainfully occupied because he earns self-employment income through ABC Limited. Now, let's begin by entering the information here. So we'll start with our NIS number. Is this our first time filing? Because we had filed for the previous year when our business was not in operation, at this time, our answer to this question will be no. Now we'll enter the period that is being filed for. To indicate the period being filed for, we'll file for the entire year of 2023. Let's read this pop-up box together. So it says, if this is your first time filing, the accounting period entered will become your established accounting period. If you wish to adjust it in the future, please use the PAP01 to apply for the change before your next filing. If the period exceeds 12 months, you'll be required to file separate returns for the relevant year of assessment. Example, if reporting for 18 months at December 2022 and your accounting year is January to December, then the periods would be July to December 2021 for the year of assessment 2021 and January 22 to December 2022 for the year of assessment 2022. The 12-month period end must be the same as the indicated accounting period end entered at the top of the form. So for John Brown and ABC Limited, our financial year is going to begin on the 1st of January 2023 and end on the 31st of December 2023. The accounting period will also be the same. Now that we've entered our accounting period, we'll proceed to answer the rest of the questions. Are you a resident of Jamaica? Yes. The date the business was registered. So we had that as June 1st, 2022. Have you commenced trading? So since we have commenced trading in 2023, the answer to this question will be yes. The start date of trade here is required, as you can see by the orange triangle. The date we started trading in 2023 was the day right after New Year's Day, January 2nd, 2023. Now we'll answer these questions. Are you gainfully employed in Jamaica? In John's case, yes, he is gainfully occupied. Are you gainfully employed? Now, according to the description here in red, gainfully employed means that you would be employed in Jamaica under an employee-employer relationship or outside of Jamaica working on a ship, aircraft, or with an embassy or consulate of Jamaica. So in this case, we know that John is not gainfully employed in Jamaica. So the answer to this question is actually no. If you were filling this form on your behalf and you had a second job where you were in an employee-employer relationship with another company in Jamaica, your answer to this question would be yes. But in this case, our answer is no, because John is just a sole trader and he is not employed otherwise in Jamaica. Are you employed to a foreign embassy, high commission, or consulate? No, John is not employed to any of those organizations. Now, this question asks where our financial accounts were prepared. They were prepared internally by John and his accountant. Now we'll enter John's name here as he is the one that is filling this form. We're pretending that John is filling this form for the purposes of this tutorial. In your case, if you're filling out this form, aka filing your taxes for yourself, you would put your name here. If your employee is doing this on your behalf, your employee would still be required to put your name here, or they would put their name if they are your legally authorized tax filing representative. Okay, so the only time your name is not entered in this slot is if you are not the one filing the taxes on behalf of your sole trader business. Okay, now John's name, address, and telephone number have now been entered. In the event that you don't want the preparer's name to appear on the final return, right? You could enter the company's information here by unchecking this checkbox and entering ABC Limited, entering your company TRN and the company address. So now that we finished entering the required information on the first page, we would carefully review to ensure that we've entered everything correctly. NIS number, all our required questions are answered. Our filing period and accounting periods are correct. Our business date is correct. And our start day of trade is also correct. We'll verify our TRN and address details. And then we'll click next. Now we've come to page 2. As usual, we'll read each section carefully before proceeding. Now this section, or summary of income, is going to capture all the income that John Brown made in ABC Limited for the year 2023. Now, this notification says, if gross receipts or sales income exceeds 10 million, please check the box at line 1 to complete, return, and attach financial statements. So if gross sales income do not exceed 10 million, we'll uncheck the box and complete Schedule 1. right? Now, in order to know our gross sales, we'll have to take a look at our financial records. Now, as we said earlier, financial records could be a trial balance from your accounting system, a financial statement from your accountant. It could also come from information found on your bank statement, your credit card statement, purchase receipts, and so on. In order to get financial records, you'd have to take the transactions from your bank account and from those receipts and have them put together either by an accountant or your admin staff so you can prepare a simple profit and loss statement for yourself, and also so you can create a balance sheet or a trial balance. Now, this is ABC Limited's statement of profit and loss, and we're looking at the year 2023. Now we see that ABC Limited's revenue for the year 2023 was $30 million. That means that this is over the $10 million limit. So we'll need to attach these financial statements to the filing. We'll begin to fill out the form according to the financial statement for ABC Limited, and we'll also pull some figures from the trial balance for ABC Limited. So let's get started. This line asks us for our gross receipts or our sales income. On the statement of profit and loss, or the profit and loss statement, the gross income or revenue for the year is $30 million. So we'll enter that figure here. Our cost of goods sold or cost of sales, as shown here, is $14.5 million for the year 2023. Business and administrative expenses. So here we see that our administrative expenses are $10,235,000, while our finance costs are $65,000. So we'll add those amounts together in order to come up with a figure for business and administrative expenses. Our total then is $10,300,000. So we'll enter that amount here in the line for business and administrative expenses. Net adjustments. What is that? So for terms that could be confusing, we could click this little eye and a pop-up will appear here. And it says, do not include capital allowance in adjustments. That kind of gives us an idea of what should be entered here. So net adjustments. Net adjustments is asking us for information that decreases income for tax purposes. Some of these expenses are depreciation, donation, interest payable, and interest expense payable is referring to any interest on loans that the business may have incurred. So interest expense is referring to interest paid on any loans that the business may have taken. Personal expenses, expenses used to acquire fixed assets, which includes insurance, freight, and customs fees, provisions for bad debt, loss on sale of fixed assets. And loss on sale of fixed assets is, for example, you bought a PC in 2022 for $100,000, but in 2023 you actually sold that PC, but you had to sell it for $70,000. That means you'd have made a loss of $30,000. You could enter that here. Connected persons adjustments, other items not allowable as expenses, that is not wholly and exclusively incurred in earning the income. So this section is referring to any expense that is not directly related to business operations. And here you have interest received, profits you make on any fixed assets. So if I bought that PC in 2022 for 100,000, but in 2023 I sold it for 150,000, I would have made a profit, and I would enter that figure here, right? Adjustment for transactions between domestic connected persons, other items not subject to income tax, and then the totals here. So we'll enter the information on this screen according to the information we have on ABC Limited's trial balance. Okay, now that we've filled out our schedule, we've pulled the information from our trial balance and our profit and loss statement. Just for your information, a connected persons adjustment would include any amounts that you received from someone close to you in order to operate your business. So if you borrowed $500,000 from your spouse in order to purchase goods for your business, then you would put that amount here on the schedule, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. We don't have transactions that occurred in any other of these sections for ABC Limited, and ABC Limited does not have any rental activities because they do not perform rental activities, or John Brown does not earn income from rental activities throughout the year. He does not own properties for which he collects rents. So we will leave this column, column B, empty. Now that we've added information from our trading activities, we'll click OK. And this will autofill a separate section of this return. Now we have question 8, share of partnership income. If you are part of a partnership and you receive income from the operations of that partnership, you would enter that amount by completing this schedule. I'll just show you what it looks like. You would enter the TRN number of the partnership, the profit share in percentage, and the amount that you receive. It would be automatically calculated here, and then you would select OK. But ABC Limited does not earn partnership income. So we'll move on. Income from rental of property. ABC Limited does not receive income from rental property. So if ABC Limited earned income from rental activities, they would have to enter the amount here. So they would enter the receipts, subtract the amounts from profit, and then they would enter the relevant expenses in relation to their rental business. There's a long list of possible expenses that they could incur, and then they would select OK. But that does not apply to our example. So let's see what this description box here says. They would enter the total amount from renting or leasing of property. And here, normal repairs and replacements are to be included. The cost of improvements, reconstructions, alterations are not regarded as repairs and must not be included. Now, this is in the event that you own a business that deals in earning income from rental of property. For example, if you own an Airbnb property, you would enter this section when filing your taxes. All right. Now here we have income from all employment and offices. Now, in the event that you are gainfully employed, meaning you're employed to a company outside of your sole trader business, and you are in an employee-employer relationship with another organization in Jamaica, or you work on a ship or an airplane or an embassy of Jamaica abroad, then you would enter this section. For this section, you would require a P24 form from your employer. To enter the information from this form, you would select the link and you would click the Add a Record button. Now, here you would enter the information from the P24 form, the amount of pay you receive, the tax deducted from your pay, your basic pay, the tax deducted, any allowances that you may have received, benefits in kind. So, for example, if your company that you're employed to provides a house for your use, a motor car, or other benefits, you would enter them here. And in section 6, you would enter the amount of NIS, pension, or superannuation deduction, and any agreed expenses that your employer would have deducted from your basic pay. And then you would select OK. You're able to add records for more than one business. So if you work 2 full-time jobs and also run a sole trader company, you would use this form. So if you work 2 full-time jobs, you would add information from 2 P24s, and this would be part of your income tax filing information for the year 2023. But John Brown from ABC Limited does not work for an employer, so we'll leave that section blank. And you'll notice here that there are a couple of other sections. These would be auto-filled when you enter the information here under the P24 form. So we will go ahead and leave this section blank. Income from investments and other sources. If you contribute to a personal pension fund, you would enter the information here and attach the certificate afterwards. If you earn dividends, preference dividends, you would enter the amount here. You'd enter the type of income, whether it's an annuity, a discount, dividend from an estate, etc. You would enter the dividend that you earn here. You'd enter the TRN of the person who paid you the dividend, the number from the withholding tax certificate that you received, the name of the person that paid you the dividend, the amount, and the amount of the tax withheld. And all of this information would be found on your dividend payment. So in the event that you earn dividends, significant dividends from your investments, and that is part of your self-employed income, you would complete this schedule on your self-employed income tax filing. You would also fill out the schedule for gross dividends other than preference dividends. So this section was in relation to gross preference dividends, well, this section is gross dividends other than preference dividends. And now we're talking significant dividends. If you receive dividends of $500 or $2,000, those amounts, you're free to enter the amount that you received when you received your dividend payment, but those will not significantly impact your tax liability. So you may choose whether or not you want to enter those amounts. Now, this information box says that describes what it means by gross dividends other than preference dividends. So it says here, ordinary dividends which are not subject to tax in the hands of the recipient because the payer has already borne the tax on it. Gross interest received, and again, this speaks to significant interest received in the course of business. So if in your business you gave someone a loan and they paid you a significant amount of interest over the year, you'd enter that here. Discounts, you would complete the same schedule. You would select the discounts option. And it's the same thing here. Other dividends excluding gross dividends and annuities. So for each income type, under income from investments and other sources, if you select the schedule here, you choose the type of income, an annuity, discount, gross preference dividends. For example, you enter the TRN of the payer, the withholding tax certificate number for each, and the name of the payer. These sections would be automatically populated as soon as you save the information in this schedule by clicking OK. But ABC Limited has not earned other income from those activities, so we will forego completing that schedule. Income from sources outside the island. So if you operate a business outside of Jamaica, maybe you have an online store or a business that's registered overseas, you would fill out this schedule here, whether you receive that income from employment income, gross dividends, interest from an overseas loan that you may have given, income from self-employment, business profits from outside of the island, other income, or even if you want to record a pension, income received from a pension outside of the island, you can do all of that on this schedule here. You enter the type of income, the address of the payer, the gross amount, any expenses deducted from that income, and the final amount. And the total would be reflected here. You would click OK, and that would be it. But ABC Limited does not do that kind of business, so we'll move on. Now, let's talk a little bit about frank and unfranked income and what that means. Now, you may have noticed that in section 30, there's something called franked income. And in section 49, we have unfranked income. And the difference between franked and unfranked income is simply that for franked income, tax has already been deducted by the payer of that income. When income is unfranked, that means that tax has not yet been paid on that income by the person that you receive the income from. So, for example, if you receive dividends from Grace Kennedy Limited, but taxes have not yet been deducted from those dividends, that would count as unfranked dividends. But if Grace Kennedy did deduct tax from the dividend, then that would count as franked dividends. So I hope that made the term franked and unfranked dividend a bit clearer for you. After completing all the required sections, we're going to check to confirm that we've entered the correct information by reviewing what we've entered so far. Then we'll move on to the next page by selecting Next. Now here in section 3, we'll describe our exemptions, deductions, and statutory income and available losses. Now, ABC Limited or John Brown does not pay any pension. He doesn't have an age exemption and he doesn't have other exemptions. As per this description box, other exemptions are any other income that is entitled to exemption from taxes in accordance with Section 12 of the Income Tax Act. So John Brown doesn't have any exempt income. He also doesn't have any capital allowances, and he also is not contributing to an approved retirement scheme. He also hasn't made any donations throughout the year 2023. Now, this section speaks to available losses. If during 2022, ABC Limited had been operational and made a loss, we could bring that loss forward here and it would contribute to the tax calculations for the current financial year. Now, here, a question is asked. Is the business within the first 6 years of trading, or is gross sale less than 10 million? We'll leave this selected as yes because the business is within the first 6 years of trading. Notice that it says or. So if our gross sale was less than 10 million, but we've been operating for 7 years, we would still select yes. Now we'll click next. On this screen, this talks about double taxation relief. John is not double taxed because he does not work for any other organizations in Jamaica. He only earns self-employed income. He does not have a tax certificate for contractor's levy, right? So he does not, tax was not withheld from any income on his behalf as a contractor. That's what that means. So this section, employment tax credit, you complete the schedule when you have employees for which you are paying their payroll taxes on time and filing their payroll taxes on time. So if you have 2 employees and you deduct taxes from their pay, then you file those taxes and you pay those taxes, you would enter that information here. So you would follow the information requested from the schedule and enter it here because you'd be able to receive a tax credit on that amount. You will not receive a credit if you were late or for the months that you were late, either filing your payroll taxes on your employee's behalf or paying the payroll taxes on your employee's behalf. But if you filed and paid the taxes on time and in full for 6 months out of the year, you would be able to receive a credit for this amount. So ABC Limited is not claiming tax credits at this time because it's their first year of operation and they don't really have they don't have any employees. Their only employee so far is John Brown, who is the owner. We'll move on to the next next section here, tax deducted from dividends. You would enter that here if you had that amount, or it would probably be auto-filled from the previous section. PAYE deducted by employers. This is from the schedule that we had looked at earlier. It would also be a section that is auto-filled. It does not apply to ABC Limited, so we'll move on. Same for these other sections of tax being deducted from distributions, dividends, interest, tax withheld against estimated taxes. This would have been auto-filled by entering information on the previous schedules in relation to other income. So we'll move on and select next. Please note that John is under the age of 65. So employment income earned after the age of 65, it affects your tax liability. So if you're over the age of 65, you would enter that amount here. Education tax deducted or paid by employer-employee contributions. This section would be auto-filled. Schedule A and B attachments. So, Schedule A, are you a domestic worker? No. John Brown or ABC Limited, it does not work in that capacity. Are you a Jamaican citizen employed by an embassy, high commission, consulate, United Nations agency located in Jamaica? Nope. Do you have any income from self-employment? Yes. NHT deducted and payable by employer. This section also would have been auto-filled, but if you are seeing it blank and it applies to you, feel free to enter that number from your P24 here. This does not apply to John Brown or ABC Limited, so we're going to forego that box. Were you employed during the year? No. Are you a Jamaican citizen employed by an embassy? No. Were you employed as a domestic worker? No. Do you have any income from self-employment? Yes. Here, NIS information would also have been auto-filled from the previous schedule. So it's not applicable here. During the year of assessment, did you conduct any transaction with an affiliated company or connected person? Now, we had previously described this, but an affiliated company or connected person is any business or person that contributed financial resources, significant financial resources, to your business operations. So, if you are friends with the owner of XYZ company and they loan you funds in order to purchase goods so that you can continue business, you would have conducted a transaction with an affiliated company. If you borrowed a significant amount of money from your spouse, say you took a $500,000 loan from your spouse in order to make purchases so that you could conduct business, you would also select yes for this option. But John Brown of ABC Limited did not do that. So for this question, the answer will be no. Now, we would have to attach the financial statements that support our filing. So we're going to select financial statements. If John Brown had a certificate, for example, a pension certificate, you would check this box. He could add amendments, proof of covenants, a schedule showing his rental expense and so on, and any other supporting document, right? For example, a P24 if he was employed to another organization. So for this example, we will upload John's financial statements. Now, to attach John's financial statements, we click this little button here that says add. We'll write a description. So we'll say ABC financial statements. And we'll choose a file. Then we'll select the Save button. Now that our financials are attached, we will check first to confirm that we've answered all the questions properly and there are figures where they should be. Then we'll select Next. So now we're here at section 6 of our SO4 form. So we're seeing all the information that we entered before being populated here. And we have our net profit being automatically calculated here. We didn't have any business activity in these sections. Rental of property, other income, so they're blank. There was no pension contributions or dividends. We didn't have any deductions. And here in section F, the income tax that we're liable for is contributed. So this is a tax threshold. That amount is nil. Any amount over 4.499 mil is taxed at 25%. And amounts over 6 million are taxed at 30%. All right, and here we have an additional tax on dividend other than preference dividend, but ABC Limited does not have any dividends like that. So they don't pay any tax on that. And our total income tax is calculated here. So that's what would be payable to the tax office for ABC Limited in income taxes for 2023. All right, so we're seeing that amount being automatically transferred down. We didn't have any information in any of these sections from before. Here we see the computation of our education tax. We don't have any related party transactions that would affect our tax liability. And here we see the totals for income tax, education tax, NIS, and NHT that we are liable for. We see the questions from Schedule A and Schedule B being answered. And now we've come to the end of our file. So after checking that everything is correct and that we haven't missed any sections, we would go ahead and select Submit here. Once again, the declaration form here pops up and you would declare to the best of your knowledge and belief that this is a true and correct statement of the information and particulars given on this form. Are you sure you want to submit this return? You would select OK, and then you would receive a confirmation message that your return has been successfully submitted and your account will be updated overnight. Now, because we had transactions and earned income in 2023, we would be liable to pay income tax, education tax, NIS, and NHT. And the tax office has provided here methods that we can use to complete these payments. So you can complete payment by credit card, electronic funds transfer, direct funds transfer, bill payment, or pay at the tax office with cash, check, a debit card, or credit card, right? And we can view a printable version of our tax return by clicking here. We can make a payment on this return as soon as we file it and follow the instructions. And there you have it. You've now filed your self-employed taxes for 2023. Now we've come back to our income tax filing window, the main screen, and we see here that we have the option of filing a return for 2024. Now this return is not yet due. But why do we have this option? Well, let's select File Return and see what happens. So it brings up this window, a self-employed estimate. This is the SO4A form. Now, a self-employed estimate is used to estimate your income for the next year. So the next year after 2023 would be 2024. So this form requires us to estimate our income for the year 2024. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to file a return before you actually know how much income you've made? Well, the advantages of doing this are that you are able to make quarterly payments against this estimation throughout the year so that your tax liability at the end of the year, when you submit an actual return, will not be as high. So let's go through filling out the estimate. We're going to enter the accounting period here, which would be January 1, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. We don't have to enter a telephone or an email address here. As you can see, there's no yellow triangle requiring that information. And then we'll enter the NIS number. Enter our residency status. We are residents of Jamaica. You would answer according to your circumstances here. Are you a domestic worker? No. Are you a Jamaican citizen employed by an embassy, high commission, consulate, or United Nations agency located in Jamaica? No. Do you anticipate a significant change in your statutory income for the year of assessment? This depends. Knowing your business and how it's operated in the past, you can make a projection to say, yes, I do expect a significant increase. And then if yes, you're going to state the reason for the change in section F below. Now, if you expect your income to increase, you could say something like, my income will increase due to plans for more sales in 2024, marketing of new product line. And you don't need to worry that tax office will hold you entirely accountable for this information. This is just to let them know if they see an increase in your income for the next year, it's not unexpected. And this is also to help you make plans for your tax liability come March 15, 2025. All right, so you're going to estimate your statutory income from immediately preceding year of assessment. So we made $6,385,000 last year. And the net increase that we hope to see a $2 million increase in income, for example, and then we will go to the next page. So we're going to enter information on income on which tax is withheld at source. Employment income in Jamaica, this is if you, so you would make an estimate here. We hope to earn the entire 2 million from activities in Jamaica. We don't expect to earn any income from sources outside the island. So we don't expect any pension income from Jamaica or sources outside the island. We also don't expect any dividend income. John is not receiving an annuity. He's not receiving any director's fees, and he does not have any self-employed income being earned from overseas. Other income, he's not expecting to earn any other income during this year. And credits, he doesn't have any additional tax credits. Now here we can say I choose to submit my files at a later date because we don't have any financial information for the year 2024 as yet. So it is okay to select that option. We don't have any other supporting documents either. So we're going to select the next option. And this will give us an estimate that is auto-populated of our expected taxes or tax liabilities for the year 2024. Right? So our tax here is estimated at 1.6 million. Our education tax is estimated, NIS is estimated, and the NHT amount is estimated. So quarterly, we would be expected to pay 422,000 for income tax, 35,000 for education tax, 45,000 for NIS, and 47,000 for NHT. And this is based on our estimated income and the reason why we expect to see an increase. Now, this is just the summary page showing how the calculations are made and the percentages. And then we'd go ahead and click submit here. Again, we're asked to declare that this information is true to the best of our knowledge and belief. And if we are sure, we're going to select OK. Once again, we see our confirmation page appearing here. We're also able to print a copy of our return, which we can download and save for our personal records, or in order to have a physical paper document to review. But we're going to return to our home screen at this time by clicking OK. Now that we've filed both our income tax return and an estimated income tax return for the current year, we notice that things have changed on the main screen of our income tax window. We see here a balance, the outstanding balance that we owe to the tax office. So we've been assessed for 2.9 million in total. For 2023, we owe 1.2 million, and we have the option here of making a payment. And for 2024, we see that we're liable to pay 1.6 million. This is an estimated figure, and we're also able to make a payment here. Now, you don't have to make the payment for 2024 taxes right away. You can focus instead on making payments for your 2023 taxes. And that's it. Thanks for watching our tutorial on how to file your self-employed taxes. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to learn next. And remember to like this video, share it with someone you think it would help, and subscribe to our channel for more updates.